Rumination is more than just simple thinking or analyzing of something that happened. Rumination is almost like a never-ending mental loop where you can't let go of something, but rather you allow it to continue to go through your mind over and over and over again. It's as if it has power over you rather than you having power over yourself and your own thoughts. And while you may have heard or even used the word rumination in a more casually intended sense, the reality of rumination is that it's anything but casual. It's almost as something that has you as a prisoner, has you in its clutches. It's more than mere overthinking. It's not thoughtfulness. It's not being insightful. It's not being analytical. It's being almost obsessive. It's not productive, and it could be quite disruptive to one's daily experience. This is why it's important to know what rumination is, recognize it if it happens, and know how to break out of it. So today, let's talk about rumination and how to break the cycle. Rumination is overthinking to the point where you can't seem to focus on or think about anything else. It's not helpful, it's not insightful, it's not productive, it's detrimental. It can take up your time, it can prevent you from getting things done, from moving on. It can be quite unhealthy. Rumination isn't problem solving. It's just going over and over in your mind on what the problem is. It's harping on the problem rather than actually moving beyond the stating or the identifying of the problem and looking for a solution. That's a big critical difference. Recognizing a problem, stating a problem, reframing a problem, those are fine as long as you're not stuck in that phase. Once you identify the problem and maybe reframe it for your own benefit if need be, it's important to move on to the next step. And that means working towards a solution, finding a solution, trying out a solution, or getting over what happened, getting past what happened, letting go of what happened. Ruminating, on the other hand, keeps you stuck. It prevents you from moving forward. So it's very important that you understand the difference, because so many times people may misuse the term intending it to be casual, to be acceptable, to be productive, to be helpful, to be healthy, when rumination is none of those things. Rumination keeps you stuck. It prevents you from moving forward. And as I said, prevents you from finding a solution to a problem. It prevents you from moving forward, letting go of what happened, or getting over what happened. It keeps you stuck in the same gear. So what can you do to address rumination? If you experience rumination yourself, or if you've seen or witnessed somebody ruminating, you probably already know what that looks like. Maybe you've seen it in someone else, maybe you've seen it in yourself, or maybe somebody pointed it out to you that you are ruminating and being stuck, not letting go. The first step then is to know what rumination is and be able to recognize it. As we look at ways of interrupting rumination, recognition and understanding are number one. You can't interrupt something unless you know it's there, unless you know it's happening, unless you know it for what it is, unless you can identify it for what it is. So now you have a better understanding of what rumination is. Let's practice identifying it. If you're finding yourself spending time thinking about the same thing over and over again, are you being productive where you are actually moving forward? Or are you stuck in a loop? Are you stuck in a gear? This is very important. The first step to interrupting rumination is recognizing it, identifying it, and knowing it for what it actually is. And don't be afraid to name it. If you recognize it as rumination, call it out for what it is. There's no point of being overly polite about it. Rumination doesn't serve you. So you have to be direct with it. Call it out for what it is. Another good way to interrupt rumination is to externalize what is bothering you. By externalizing something, you become better able, you become more free to let it go. How do you externalize your rumination? A very simple exercise is to take 3 points of whatever it is that you've been focused on, whatever you've been ruminating about. 3 points, no more, and write them down. Write them down in a notebook, on a piece of paper, in a diary, whatever you choose to do. You can use a computer or your phone. You can do this electronically. Although personally, I suggest writing it out on paper with a pen or pencil, because it is that action of actually writing something down, putting thought onto paper, that allows you to release it. There's a more of a feeling of release to it than if you simply dictate it into a note on your phone or type it into your computer. But the choice is yours. Once you list 3 things, 3 points that you've been ruminating about, close your notebook or your journal or your file on your computer or phone, or fold the piece of paper in 2 and put it away. You are physically and symbolically letting go of those 3 things that you've been focused on, that you've been ruminating about. That's a good way to start purging your mind of those things that are keeping you locked in rumination. Another good rumination interrupter is to switch channels. What do I mean by that? Do something very different to distract yourself. Do something that will not allow you to be stuck in rumination. You may need to do something physical. For some of you, that will be the best answer. Maybe jumping jacks or push-ups or planks, something that really distracts you. A true changing of channels. Don't pick something that will allow you to simultaneously be stuck in rumination. Do something that challenges you or that requires your attention to the point where you cannot be stuck in that state of rumination. Maybe you choose to count backwards from 100 by 7. If that doesn't keep you thinking and keeps your mind on this new task, other than on ruminating, I don't know what will, but it's your choice. Pick whatever you want. Maybe you choose to play with your pet or your child for a short period of time. It could be something very short, very simple, or something a little more elaborate. It's up to you. But find something that will be a good way to interrupt your thoughts of rumination, of being stuck, something that requires your full attention. And of course, don't do anything that would put you at risk or in danger. Safety first, but definitely pick something that will require your full attention and will not allow you to simultaneously continue to ruminate. Another good way to find your way out of being stuck in this cycle of ruminating thoughts is to take the next step. Remember what I said at the beginning, that rumination keeps you stuck on the problem and doesn't allow you to move forward. Well, a good way of breaking out of that cycle of rumination is to take the first step beyond rumination. Identify what that step would be. Keep it small so that you don't have a reason or an excuse not to do it. Keep it small, something that will be quick, simple, and easy, that will only take a couple of minutes, maybe a few minutes. What can you do to move forward? Think about that. What can you do to go beyond this state of rumination? What will free you? Remember, the first step is your step to freedom, as long as you don't step back, as long as you keep moving forward. But in order to move forward, you have to take that first step. So what can you do? Small step, first step, nothing too elaborate, nothing that will take too long, nothing that will be too difficult or too easy to use an excuse for not doing it. So something simple, something that takes a couple of minutes, a few minutes at most, but something that will move you forward. A good way of getting unstuck is to force yourself to take the first step in a forward movement. And the last suggestion that I have for interrupting rumination is to be compassionate with yourself, in the sense of giving yourself the permission of addressing this thing, whatever has been on your mind and you've been ruminating about. Give yourself the permission to worry about it later. This is a good practice of letting this thing go. Does it mean that you actually do pick it up later? You can, that's up to you. But my suggestion is that you use this tactic of compassion towards yourself by giving yourself permission to deal with this later, as a way of breaking that cycle. And if you end up doing this particular step where you find that compassion for yourself and you give the permission to yourself to worry about this later, and then never worry about it later, all the better, because you've broken that cycle of rumination. And if that means you move forward towards a resolution, or if letting go of the rumination is all that needs to be done, you are working on freeing yourself. You are being compassionate enough toward yourself to give yourself permission to let it go. Even if that means letting it go for this morning, or for this afternoon, or for today, whatever it takes. If you get back to it, you get back to it. Aim to get back to it in a productive way. If you get caught up in rumination again, you again repeat one of these 5 things that I suggested as a way of breaking that rumination cycle. And that is the whole point. I've given you 5 different things that you can do to break that rumination cycle. Pick your favorite 2 or 3 and practice them for a week and see how well they serve you. And this is nothing that's written in stone. You should be able to change and adjust as the situation calls for it, as your need calls for, and whatever makes most sense. But make sure that you are engaging in a practice of at least 2 or 3 of these every day if you are indeed someone who is prone to rumination. Don't let rumination keep you stuck and imprison you within your own thoughts in your own mind. Fight a way to fight your way out, to break yourself free. These are 5 very easy, very simple suggestions that I made that can be very effective. So make sure that you pick your 2 or 3 favorites for this week and practice them every day throughout the week. At the end of the week, see how well they served you. Change things up if you need to, or continue with the same. But work on freeing yourself, especially if you have a tendency to ruminate. I hope that you give this a try. Rumination can be difficult. It can really weigh heavily on you, and it can sneak up on you and take over your thoughts, take over your hours, your days. It can take over your life. So it's very important that we're aware of it and we make every effort to get beyond it. Free yourself of the shackles of rumination. And to do that, you have to be proactive every single day. But you are well worth it. Your freedom is well worth it. So I hope you take into consideration the 5 practices that I offered to you here in this episode, and you choose to engage in those on a daily basis. If you'd like to learn more about a comprehensive approach to stress management, check out the links below.